Everybody has seen a handgun in an action movie at least once. Some people have even held this cold piece of metal filled with rounds. Some have shot it. If you are one of these people, then you definitely know it isn't as easy as it's shown in the movies. The average weight of a handgun is between 625 and 1,180 grams. Now imagine that your gun would be the size of a match. Sounds ridiculous, but such unordinary and tiny types of weapons do indeed exist. Forget everything you see during the next 10 minutes if you wish to avoid problems with the law. We also ask lawbreakers to walk away from the screen, because these unique types of weapons are simply mind-blowing. Just take a look at this cute thing. It seems like something lost during a battle between toy soldiers, but can it harm someone? You're right, it's unlikely someone would try robbing a bank with such a gun. However, the length of this gun, the smallest firearm in the world, is just 5 centimeters. But the C1ST Revolver works excellently and has even been included in the Guinness Book of World Records. A small gun has small rounds. The caliber is just 2.34 millimeters. The bullet flies at a speed of 122 meters per second and has an energy of 0.71 joules. This means that the force of the shot is approximately 300 times less than that of a standard Makarov pistol, or for example, 90 times weaker than that of a traumatic weapon. A torn-off piece of hair on the body would cause more discomfort than this miniature bullet. It would be like threatening a mammoth with a flu shot. The most shocking thing is that the average cost of one of these guns is $5,000 to $6,000. It's funny, but because of the bullet's size, it's banned in the United States, despite the fact that this revolver would only be able to protect you from a wasp. Here's another find for collectors: the ring pistol, a gun for your finger. A 6-round drum is attached to the ring. The trigger is located to its left. The spring that drives the mechanism is built into the ring body. You press the trigger with your thumb and bam! A 5 caliber bullet is shot out of the mini revolver. But it won't be possible to recreate a movie chase. Another thing is to lubricate the rounds inside with poison. This is what the English spies of the late 19th century did, even carrying such rings in special leather cases. Though the ring does not have a safety switch, one can only imagine how many accidents were explained by, "Oh, I forgot to take it off." Already know what to give your friends for their birthdays? Don't rush. The production of these guns stopped a long time ago because of their impracticality. But the production of miniature machine guns in Russia is gaining momentum. Former engineer Sergei Sinenkov seems to be like a real wizard. How else can you make exact copies of all the Kalashnikov variants? Just take a look. Working machine guns that even make the sound of a pulled trigger before firing. He has not one nor two, but dozens of them. This is enough to equip a whole army of Smurfs or a small store of toys that have become alive. Would you like to have one of these in your backpack? Well, then we advise you to get permission for a firearm. Even during assembly, Sergei fully complies with the manufacturing process of the original machine guns. Only instead of a giant factory, he works on a table in the kitchen and uses tweezers. The weapon is made of steel and mahogany. The size of one part does not exceed that of a couple millimeters. A Spagan machine gun, for example, consists of 124 such tiny parts. It's like trying to put together a vase smashed to smithereens while retaining its exact pattern. Only Sergei's weapons also need to be capable of shooting. One such gun fits into a child's palm, but it takes several months of work to make it. And with a jeweler's precision and under constant pressure not to make a mistake, indeed, it requires the patience of a Tibetan monk. Small revolvers, small machine guns, shooting rings, weapons are meant to protect? Who are we trying to trick? None of these will help you shoot a robber out of your house in the middle of the night, but now the next weapon can actually wound a person. Meet the miniature crossbow. This tiny thing shoots 4 times more powerfully than a real prototype. Comparing the ratio of power to weight, of course, but this is not the crossbow's real advantage. Have you ever tried to get a splinter out of your finger? How much time and energy does it take. Now imagine that instead it's a steel arrow that flew into you at a speed of 50 meters per second and pierced your hand, going a couple of centimeters deep. It's almost impossible to pull an ordinary arrow out of the body without the help of a doctor. Such models of crossbows can both be smaller than the size of a female hairpin or can even reach 30 centimeters. In addition, the trigger mechanism of the smallest crossbows have a force of about 2.5 kilograms. Such a toy may very well hurt an enemy or lead to his or her death. So if it falls into your hands, be extra careful. What do you think this is? A credit card? Wrong. This is a disguised single-shot life card pistol. This small caliber weapon resembles a discount card in a cafe or a gym pass. Who would have thought that in 1 second it can turn into among the most dangerous inventions of mankind? Now, talking about the most important thing, the characteristics, its caliber is 22 LR. The number of cartridges, 1 in the barrel with 4 in the magazine, and one of these costs only $400. If everyone were to have such a tiny gun, it would often be easily mistaken for a regular credit card when in somebody's pocket. Happily, the creators of this masterpiece at least took care of the question of safety. A key placed in the opening of the barrel completely blocks the shot. It's about 1 centimeter thick and 8.5 centimeters wide. Look at the side of this lighter. Now at the front, there's a map. If this continues, then soon the wanted list will be given out including the details of these special weapons and their peculiarities, as opposed to the actual criminals. What can be even more dangerous? Take your kids away from the screen so they don't think that these are just cute toys. This miniature weapon can easily penetrate thick glass or the cover of a metal pan. And this technology was made more than 500 years ago. And now, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. For these cannons, which are meant for besieging castles, computer screens are nothing. Just take a look at its power. It's a real dream for yard punks. A ball with a diameter of 4 millimeters can easily break a can of cola or a child's piggy bank. The weight of this gun is approximately 8 ounces or 30 grams. The longer the barrel, the higher the speed of the bullet. But guns can differ. The most amazing thing is that they're not considered to be firearms. Yes, for a 5-centimeter revolver that doesn't even leave a bruise, permission is needed, but for this gun, it's not. But you won't play around with it, right? Here is an actual invention from the Second World War. This simple device is a shooting glove. It works as simply as it sounds. The piston changes positions when the carrier clenches his fist. Next, all that needs to be done is poke the enemy with it. It seems like the carrier would just need to punch his way out of any problem, but it is a one-shot gun. As you guessed, trying to use this little thing in combat would be a nuisance. This gun was being prepared for use by the US Navy. It's hard to imagine at what point in time the generals decided that sailors would need gloves with sewn-in guns for close combat. Only 200 models were produced, and there is no record of them ever actually being used. You would think that there's nothing more effective than a good old barrel with a fuse, a trigger, and an ordinary target. This list lacks only the most terrible and dangerous human invention, the bomb, or in our case, mini bombs. This is the smallest shell in the world, weighing less than 3 kilograms. What's special about it? It uses GPS navigation to identify the target's exact location. The bomb flies with the help of a tail rudder. Its main quality is that it hits only the intended target, causing minimal damage to its surroundings. Remember the shells from the previous century? Their ginormous sizes and power destroyed whole cities. Making guided shells seems to be the best choice, though we hope that these weapons will only be used during training exercises. Obviously, the creators of this weapon tried making it humane, and now you'll understand what exactly they achieved. What do you think? What should a shell with the name Bat Bomb look like? What if we tell you that it flies, loves sleeping in the attics of residential homes, and hunts at night? You won't believe it, but this 17-gram biological weapon is attached to bats. These animals are dropped out of a plane. Right away, they fly to the darkest corners of a city, under houses' roofs. Next, you can imagine what happens. Not taking into account its cruelty, such a shell would be the smallest aerial bomb in the world. Do you think it's often used? Not once. Bat bombs were created for attacking Japanese cities. Ignition from them would be 10 times greater than after a normal bombardment. Burning bats stop using their senses, meaning they have no idea where they're flying and so fly into other houses, which ignites them. It's a bit of a domino effect. But we left the most interesting for last. The Mortar Shovel, weighing just 1.5 kilograms. This mortar is lighter than the 2 bottles of water you'd throw in your bag before work. Plus, as opposed to the lifeguard pistol, the shovel is not just a cover, it can actually be used to dig. The Mortar Shovel was used during the Second World War in order to lighten the weight of soldiers' equipment. You won't dig up your lawn with it, unless you hate your neighbors. The fragmentation round flies out at a speed of 70 meters per second and lands at a distance of 300 meters. Using this weapon, it's very easy to burn your hands holding the barrel, in addition to the fact that it's next to impossible to accurately fire and hit targets. This is why in the conditions of war, it's almost useless, something you can't say about our video. What other types of weapons would you like to see as miniature variants? Write your ideas in the comments. And remember, even small weapons carry a big burden of responsibility. So take care of yourself. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel in order to not miss the most interesting of things.